Oh, okay. Had some technical difficulties, but I made it back here before 12 to start the new broadcast. So come on into Glue. It's supposed I see things have changed. It used to say Facebook is building the audience, but I don't see that now. So I guess that's something new uh, that they don't have to do anymore. I move this way. Move this way. There we go. Okay. Well, it's 12 o'clock. Hi, this is Sporty King, and welcome to Glue Wednesday. You know, so often people talk about Wednesday as being hump day. Uh, but I tend to believe, you know, with my sensitivity toward words and the English language and my love of literacy, that hump has the negative connotation of the need to get over, when in fact, what we need to do is continue to go through. So that's why I take Wednesday and I look at Wednesday as though it's the middle of a traditional 7-day work week or a 7-day life week, whichever one we want to call it. It's not a need to get over, but a need to connect. So it's the connecting day of the weekend and the week beginning. So instead of calling it hump day, I call it glue Wednesday. And my glue is GLUE. God's love undoes everything. Not that God's love will take things apart, but when we think of glue, we remember that what glue does is pulls things together. So what we have to do is recognize wherever we feel like we're falling apart, we need to glue ourselves together, back together by exercising, inhaling, and appreciating God's love, and it will help us get through. Look at your track record. I call it trust your track record and laugh at your lack record, because you've been through a lot of stuff and you made it back through. Remember that life is about going from one puzzle to the next. You're either a small, medium, or large piece of each puzzle in your life. Your social, your family, your business, or economic life. Yet no matter what size puzzle piece you see yourself as, without you, that puzzle is called incomplete. So welcome to Glue Wednesday. Let me ask you a question. My topic today is Masters of Change. How many of you love change? And even after you think about it, how many of you love a challenge? How many of you realize that change is just challenge with an LLE in the middle? LLE, life's learning experiences. You see, today I challenge you to change your definition of success, because success challenges and changes you. We've allowed financial success to eclipse and become the headline rather than the subset of overall success. So to get success back into being the headline, let's first look at the word change and see that change is CHANGE. Choices, hardships, accomplishments, negotiations, guidance, and empathy. The choices we make, the hardships we go through, the accomplishments we gather, the negotiations we make, the guidance we're giving, and the empathy, how we feel for one another. That's what change is all about. It's the choices, the hardship, the accomplishments, the negotiations, the guidance, and the empathy. So what I'm going to do is over this next 6-week period is break down change according to each letter. And today, we have to recognize that each letter conjures up memories of something that you've done to survive. And you see, survival equals success. Let's get success as the headline rather than the subset of financial and success. So in this limited time, what I want to do is address the A, the accomplishments, through 3 of my life learning experiences. And I'm going to connect them to my Toastmasters experience. This year, I competed in Toastmasters International's World Championship of Public Speaking. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with Toastmasters, Toastmasters is a worldwide organization that helps people improve their communication and leadership skills. And every year, they have a contest called the World Championship of Public Speaking. To get to the World Championship, you have to win at your club, area, division, district, and then you go to the national international conference and you compete in the semifinals and the finals to be crowned the world champion of public speaking. Over 4,000 members around the world participate each year, and the numbers dwindle per level. So as you know, every club, I don't know how many clubs there are, but think about it, there's 4,000 people competing, and all of them are in different clubs. And so as the club winner, as you win your club, there are fewer areas, and then they become fewer divisions, and then they become fewer districts. So the number dwindles to where you're competing. The top 10 people will compete for the World Championship of Public Speaking. So this year they advanced to Chicago for the International Championship, and it was a great thing. I would have liked to have gone there, and it would have been a wonderful homecoming. But this past May, I advanced to the district level and finished in second place of the 10 champions representing our divisions. After the contest, several people expressed that they thought I did a great job and sadly wished that I had won first place. Now, don't misunderstand my appreciation for their support, but what kept going through my mind was what I stood and said to my club the following week at our meeting. I told them warmly that the title of my next speech would be, "You still have to win second place." You still have to win second place. You still have to take third, finish in fourth, find yourself in fifth, see success in sixth. See, you still have to win and see yourself as a winner. Taking first place is not really always the defining point of a champion. And what we've actually done is we've replaced the A, accomplishment, with championship. So the A in change, we've replaced the accomplishment with the word championship. In other words, you can only be successful if you accomplish winning the championship, instead of recognizing that it's the steps that you take that become a part of your story of accomplishment. What steps have you taken to make you better than you were yesterday? I always say I never compete with anyone. I compete with myself to be better than I was the time before. And when you have that type of a mindset, that's where I think you go forward. You see, in 1996, I did go to the World Championship and finished as one of the top 9 speakers in the world. And since Toastmasters only announces the third, second, and first place winners, and when they said those 3 names, they never said my name. So when I went back to Chicago and people said, "Sporty, well, how'd you do in the contest?" And I told them, I said, well, I tied for 4th with the other 5 that didn't take first, second, or third. You see, I never see myself as a loser. Think about it. It's all perspective. I still finished as one of the top 9 speakers in the world. And whenever in my speaking business, whenever I get introduced by a non-Toastmaster to an audience, even though my introduction, because I write my introduction, if you're going to be a speaker, write your introduction of how you want to be introduced to the audience so it walks right into their theme. So I'll write my introduction and give it to the MC. And if they're not in Toastmasters, I'd say 8 times out of 10, they end up, even though it says I finished as one of the top 9 speakers in the world, they'll tell the audience that I won the World Championship and then I finished as the World Champion of Public Speaking. Well, my time on stage is short, and it's not my job to go up there and correct. Oh, excuse me, no, I didn't finish as the champion. You know what? It's not so bad being introduced as one of the best in the world. And that's what you've got to, again, find a way to attach that to your spirit. It's not bad being introduced as you, is it? So find your spot where you're one of the top 3, one of the top 5, one of the top 10, one of the top 1 million. Because it's always about how you find a way to put yourself on stop. But here's the lesson that I learned in that 1996 competition at the conference. And that lesson is what actually helped me this past May in 2018. You see, after the contest, I was over. I met 3 types of people. This is in 1996. The first type of person I met was that person that said, oh man, you were wonderful, you were excellent. I don't know what the judges were looking at. You should have won. And the second type of person that I met were the people who said, man, you were fantastic, thank you. Oh, it was great. You should have at least finished in the top 3. I don't know what the judges were looking at. But the third type of person is the person that said something to me that's what really stuck with me and that I carry with me today. And that was the person, and those were the people who said to me, I really appreciated your message. I really appreciated your message. When they said that, I knew that I had won, that I had won the world championship, because I had the opportunity. See, at the contest, in the convention, you got 2,000 people in the ballroom. I had a chance to stand before 2,000 or 4,000, whichever the number is, people, and deliver my message. How could I not see that as a personal win? When you can stop and have people listen to what you say, and remember, it's a contest. So it's like a drop of a pin in that ballroom with those people. So everyone was listening to my message. Sometimes the challenge in our lives are that people aren't listening to our message because they're doing what I call listening for the period. Listening for the period is where someone is just listening to you as a courtesy, as a physical courtesy, waiting to hear the period at the end of your sentence so that they can know that you're finished talking, so that they can say what they have to say, whether it's in agreement or disagreement with what you have to say. And a lot of times you'll find out that you were on the same wavelength, but they weren't listening. Especially if they're disagreeing with you. Okay, well, here's what I think. And then when they finish saying, you say, well, that's what I said. You see, the first thing you said was something they didn't agree with, and they just blocked out the rest. So sometimes people are listening for the period, and that's what you've got to be mindful of. But again, that third person was the person that said, I really appreciated your message. So as my fellow club, area, division, district, region, my family and friends all hugged and kissed me with pride and told me that I was their champion, that's when I decided that winning is personal. W-I-N, what I need. See, there's a personal win that you have in your life that makes you an important piece of the puzzle, which I talked to you about. Life is about going from one puzzle to the next. There's a personal win that you have that makes you an important piece of every puzzle that you step foot on. And you right now may be in the Facebook puzzle, and you may be at the job puzzle, at the home puzzle, the traffic puzzle. You're always in a puzzle. But every time, if you get a message from this broadcast, if you're at your job and you have a successful sale or clear up a customer service challenge, if you're in the traffic and you make it home, if you cook a meal and you didn't burn it. See, don't look for big personal wins. Everything you do can get you a personal win and help you see yourself as an important piece of the puzzle. Because if you think of all of those wins that I just described, someone else benefited from you getting that win. If you get a good message from me, I benefit because perhaps I'll get a referral, but more importantly, I'll have saved somebody's life. I don't know, and you don't know who's listening to your message that may be on the brink of suicide. And something that you say helps them decide to take their life back and to get it together. It really is that serious, folks. And sometimes you need to use a dramatic example or analogy to get your point across. So recognize that you save people's life by getting your personal win. And let me give you another example. Do you have children? Have you ever volunteered your time to support, your time or your money to support a worthy cause? Then you've saved a life. If you've had children, if you've brought children into this world, if you volunteered your time or your talent or your money to support a worthy cause, you've saved a life. And everyone whose life you save won't get the chance to come up and thank you. They won't get the chance to come up and say, I really appreciated your message. So imagine, therefore, that was the win I got in 1996. I got a similar win in 2018 because I still had people come up to me after the contest. Even those, like I said, there were those who said, oh, I thought you should have won first. There were still people that say, I really appreciated your message. What you said, you were talking to me because I'm dealing with that right now, and I needed to know a way to get through. So recognize that that's what happened. And in fact, let me take you even further back from 2018 to 1996. Let me take you back to one of the funniest lessons that I've enjoyed in my life, because we're talking about accomplishments right now, the A in change, accomplishments. In 1989, I began coaching community league basketball in Bolingbrook, Illinois. Shout out to my team in Bolingbrook. Coach, my players, love you all. But I had a 7th grade team, and because of my belief in the importance of self-control, I named my team the Controllers. In practice, I taught my boys, and they were boys, not men. They 7th grade. I call them boys. And I think that's something that sometimes we have to look at our society, and we give the man-woman tag to our boys and girls too soon sometimes, and expect them to live up to it. But that's another broadcast. Words are powerful, and when you keep telling a child that they're a man or a woman, then they believe that they should take the liberties of that position, because they see how adults act, the people who are really, in the man or woman slots. And so they begin to act in that way. Children mock and mirror adults. And so once they see that, they make that move, and now you slap their hands, but it's not, well, you told me I was a man, you told me I was a woman. Now how do you stop me from emulating the man or woman that I want to be? Whole nother broadcast, but there's never anything wrong with dropping a little food for thought, because that might be something that could help you make it through the day as well. But anyway, in practice, I taught my boys that it was important to begin to control their emotions for future success, and that lesson would become clearer to them years after having me as their coach. See, emotional control, when we look at what's going on in our world today, when we look at the shootings in school, the substance abuse, the domestic violence, what are those all results of? Emotional uncontrol. Excuse me. So it's a matter of us being able to control our emotions that can make a difference. Even the nonsense that may be going in our political world. If one thing you can do, if you watch the politicians, the majority of them coolly and calmly will sit and make their accusations or their disagreements. Hey, shout, so it's important that you recognize that it's about being calm and control as the best way to go forward. So before each game, instead of huddling and screaming out a war cry, we would huddle, press our hands together, and downward and whisper like a train pulling into a station. Shh, control. We proceeded to lose all 13 of our games by 10 points or more. Now, I don't remember if I ever switched to letting them scream, but I do remember that the following year, when I was coaching 8th grade, I believed it was important to let kids energize themselves with a hearty war cry. I also let them name themselves, and they chose to be socially conscious and call themselves the troops, recognizing the prayers for our country, dealing with the Persian Gulf War at the time. That was in 1989, 90. That year, we finished 4th in a 16 division, and we crushed the opponents through the first 2 rounds of the playoffs. Then we lost in the championship game by 1 point when the best player in the league hit a 3-point shot with 12 seconds to go. Still, my victory came when Rick immediately turned to me and asked, "Call a timeout, coach?" And I said, "Right." You see, we called the timeout, and with 8 seconds to go, we found ourselves in control of our destiny. Well, I've already told you that we lost, so we missed the shot, but we got the chance to take the shot, and it was a good shot. We even got the rebound and got 1 more shot, but time expired before the ball left court's hands. And our opponent was scared because they could not understand why we wouldn't give up and we wouldn't panic and give up. Well, I always say, it's always too late to panic. It's never too early to prepare. Calm your spirit and plan to take another shot. Until time expires, your life is in your hands, with the possibility of making you a winner. W-I-N, what I mean. How will you define your win, what you've accomplished? Being publicly crowned champions didn't define winning for my troops. How they played the game did. And each one of them went on to become members of championship teams because they knew that they could call a timeout and get one more shot. Have you recognized that in your life? You can call a timeout and take one more shot. Trust your track record, laugh at your lack record. You've done a lot of things to get where you are today. Trust yourself. And I think more important than the fact that they knew that they could call a timeout, they knew that they could get that shot because they had developed a new sense of who they were. And just as I infused that belief into their spirits, I continue to carry it in mine. I'm not defined by titles. I define myself by my accomplishments. Though I've had losses, one thing I've never called myself is a loser. You see, losing is a state of mind where we willingly surrender to the possibility that we have no more options. And when you decide you've run out of options, you decide to ignore your creativity, what you decide what you've accomplished, you decide to ignore what you've accomplished to survive, and you decide to bury your success. Let me restate that because I misread it. When you decide that you've run out of options, you decide to ignore your creativity, you decide to ignore what you've accomplished to survive, and you decide to bury your success. You're never out of options. So I challenge you to change your definition of success. You see, many people say they're afraid of or uncomfortable with change when in fact we're all masters of change. Because it's a compilation of LLEs, life's learning experiences, that move and inspire us to grow. Change your definition of success. Recognize that it's just an accomplishment that you can make again and again and again. And make success the headline instead of the subtitle of financial success. Next week, we'll tackle the letter C in change and look at some of the choices we make that create the consistency that we seek and deserve. Until then, follow me here, and please check out my site at sportyking.com, www.sportyking.com, and enjoy my monthly fun letter, my blog posts of positivity, and the opportunity to support my message through your patronage or referrals. But certainly remember to see the glue in you. Glue. God's love undoes everything, and you are God's love. Thanks and blessings. I tell you what, I'm going to always make a habit of, if there are any comments, I can go on and answer those comments right now because we've got another 8 minutes. There being none, I will wait and see. Shell, good seeing you on the broadcast. I see I got one other person. Any comments or questions? But look, it was great being back here delivering the glue. And as you can see, over my shoulder, they got my back. My mother and my sister and my goddaughter. Hey, twin. Any comments or questions? I'm opening the floor for comments or questions right now, which is something I'm going to build into my broadcast. That's why I try to keep them. That's why people say, "Oh, don't you speak? No, speak from the heart." I write from the heart. If I spoke from the heart, I'd never get through the 30 minutes. I know we got a limited time frame, so I try to keep to my notes so that I can deliver the essence of the message. But if there are any comments or questions, I'll be happy to answer those, because one thing I say is I don't preach what I practice what I preach. And I'm ready to stay positive at any turn of the events. I can out-positive a negative person one-on-one, and so can you. All right? Any questions? Oh, God, I feel like an altar call. Is there one? Oh, God. And happy birthday. Excuse me, happy birthday, by the way, Vanessa. Okay, great message. Thank you. Thanks and blessings. That's what we do. And I'm glad to see that y'all had a ball down in Maryland. Yeah, we're going to get personal. It's our world. Oh, get out of the fly. Oh, again, next week we're going to be looking at the letter C in change. Choice, because it's the choices we make, it's the creativity and the consistency we seek. I love it. You know, you got to really love the English language. When you have an opportunity to speak, find a way to dissect the English language so that you can help your audience that much more. All right. Well, I'm going to be out of here. If there are no further questions or comments, and I'll look forward to answering them when I see them on the post. Thanks again. God bless you. Ciao. Oh, no. I got to end with life is about going from one puzzle to the next. You're either a small, medium, or large piece of the puzzle in each of your social, business, or family interactions. Yet, no matter what puzzle piece you see yourself as, what size puzzle piece you see yourself as, without you, that puzzle is called incomplete. And that's also why, if you've noticed, my new logo and my company name is the Top Line LLC, because the top line is how I feel affects other people. We always hear people talk about bottom line results. Well, you can't get to the bottom line if you don't deal with the top line. You got to deal with how people feel, because that affects other people. How I feel affects the next person and affects the next person. And so again, you can't get the bottom line results if you don't take care of people. So think about that as well. And again, looking forward to your support. God bless you. Over and out. Ciao.